Welcome back, everyone. Get comfortable, because today's courtroom footage is not something you want to miss. We're stepping inside the courtroom of Judge Flecher, a judge well known for seeing through nonsense instantly. Yesterday, a defendant identifying himself as a sovereign citizen appeared before him. From the opening moments, it was obvious the outcome wouldn't match the defendant's expectations. The judge entered fully alert, prepared for every recycled argument, and ready to dismantle each claim with precision. This was one of those hearings where every second mattered, and blinking meant missing a lesson in courtroom reality.
Do you have a lawyer today?
No, representing myself.
You were charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. It looks like you also, out of the same charge, picked up a fraud as well. Okay, you can represent yourself. It's your absolute right. I don't know how smart it is. Have you ever represented yourself before?
Yeah, many times.
And how did that go?
I have many dismissals.
For what kind of cases?
I had a dismissal on unlawful carry before.
And you represented yourself?
Yes.
In this court?
Harris County.
Just found no PC.
Oh, well, I found no probable cause. That's why I got dismissed. You didn't represent yourself.
I was representing myself, but the judge did find no probable cause.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't you.
It was.
Well, I don't know. I think it was you.
June 9, 2022.
I found no probable cause.
I think that was you.
Flecher doesn't soften his words or dance around the truth. He addresses situations exactly as they are, in real time, without hesitation. What stood before him was a defendant representing himself, fully convinced he had unlocked some hidden legal loophole. That confidence didn't last long. The judge assessed the situation almost immediately, and from that point forward, it was clear the hearing was about to turn into a fast-paced collision with reality.
Brain surgery, when you need brain surgery, when you need heart surgery, are you going to do that on yourself? Because you're not trained, you don't know how to perform open heart surgery. Same thing with the law. You're not trained in it. I'm assuming that you didn't go to law school, did you? How far did you get in school?
I went to some college.
How far did you get?
Because I got certificates. Not in college, but I went to school.
Okay. So we're in the middle of trial now. And so I don't have the time to go through all of what they're called Faretta warnings to see whether you should represent yourself. I'm happy to do that. Why don't we delay it off a week? Are you working at this time?
Yeah, and I stay in Austin. I don't live in Houston, so.
What do you do for a living?
I have my own business.
Doing what?
We sell clothing, audio production.
How much money do you make a month?
I can't tell you, but it pays the bills.
You're very cryptic in all of your answers, and not only that, but you going to Austin, if you represent yourself, you're going to have to meet with the DAs on a constant basis to get evidence. So that's going to require you to come here to Houston quite a bit.
I was ready to file my motion today if I needed to be here.
Okay. Before I do that, though, I need to have a Faretta hearing. If you're willing to wait, we can do that a little bit later when I take a break in trial.
I had my other case upstairs the same day. The judge from when I came to
have you been up there yet?
No, I haven't been up there yet.
He moved away to handle matters in another courtroom, but once he returned, the tone shifted completely. Now it was time for a Faretta hearing, the moment where the court evaluates whether the defendant is even capable of acting as his own attorney. This is where everything the defendant believed he understood would be examined closely. The spotlight turned harsh, and the real test began the moment the questions started.
September 11th, 2024. It's approximately 12:25 p.m. We are now in Court 5. In front of me, I have Eaton Emitom, case number 2522688. Would you please identify yourself for purpose of the record?
There's a man, Eaton Emitom.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? That you're going to tell the truth. That's it. Yes? Okay. State, would you identify?
Hello, Petrov on behalf of the state.
Okay. So the reason that we're putting this on the record now is Mr. Emitom has been charged with the offense of unlawful carrying of a weapon. The case is 40 days old. It appears that probable cause has already been found. I don't know if I did probable cause on this, or if I don't know if another judge did, because I don't remember, Mr. Emitom, and I was out a week. Yeah, lollygagging. So let's just do it first.
On August 2nd, 2024, officers observed a car without a front license plate, changed lanes without a signal, and have expired registration as of March 2023. Upon approaching, officers smelled marijuana. PC's search returned 4.17 grams and a loaded Smith & Wesson handgun. Additionally, there was a backpack with 3 checks that did not belong to him. Officer called Kumamoto, who said the checks were stolen from her restaurant on July 8th. When defendant broke the front window, went to the back where the checks were kept in the office, broke the hinge of the back door, and exited.
So as a result, because of that, he was charged with felony fraud on that, on the check. Okay. Yes, he has an open case in the 182nd. Looks like he made a $15,000 bond. With us, I am going to find there's probable cause to go forward. Well, hold on a second. We'll get there. I'll let you say your piece, but do you have a Texas driver license?
I have a U.S. private property number with the FMCSA. What my vehicle was on there, it was sticker tags, everything with my business, the Amazon States, Department of Transportation.
Is that from the state of Texas or from where?
This is federal. This is with the Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Is a judge who isn't impressed or intimidated. Judge Flecher recognized the script immediately and responded with visible disbelief. He wasn't confused or uncertain. If anything, he seemed ready for this exact scenario. Calmly and publicly, he prepared to walk through every false claim, every reused talking point, and every imagined legal trap, step by step, leaving no room to escape the facts.
You either have one or you don't. The federal government has regulated to the states through the Constitution that they have allowed the states on their own initiative to create laws regarding driving on highways and byways. So that's why you see every single state has different requirements for licensing, insurance, mode of transportation. The federal government has somewhat to do with it, but by and large, they have delegated to the states that they are their own entity with regard to creating laws in their specific highways. So that's why every single state has a different type of license, different type of insurance. Like the Texas driver license is white versus Arkansas might be yellow or red, or Hawaii might be. So that's every single state has their own laws with regard. In Texas, you have to have a Texas driver license. You also have to have liability insurance as a minimum in the event that you get into an accident. Those are the 2 main requirements that you need to drive. If you're going to drive a vehicle, it also has to be registered so that they know that you're driving the vehicle and that you own it or have the right to have that, so it's not a stolen vehicle.
I own the vehicle and everything. When I was here the last hearing with the judge, like what he was saying, he said that when it had applied to me, but he was going to see what they were going to say about the other court, about the probable cause of stopping me, because he said registration when it had in the front license plate, when it had applied to me.
It does apply. It applies to everybody. Everybody has to have a back license plate. They also have to have a front license plate. And so much they also tell you where it has to be on the car. They regulate. You can't put it in the windshield.
State, right?
State. Yeah. Right. They tell you where it has to be. You can't put it on the windshield. You can't put it on.
The judge locked eyes with the defendant and delivered a blunt reality check. He explained that anyone is free to move about as they wish on foot. But operating a vehicle comes with rules, and pretending otherwise doesn't change that. The statement was sharp, clear, and impossible to misinterpret. Moments like this are exactly why people find Judge Flecher so compelling to watch.
Whoever told you that, whoever, where you got that, it's complete. Because imagine this, Mr. Emitom, and I've seen this before. Imagine that you get into an accident, right? And you kill a 5-year-old kid. What's going to happen at that point? Whoever owns that car, the other people, they're going to come after you. They're not going to go after they're going to come after you. The first thing they're going to do is, do you have insurance? And if you don't have insurance, they're going to sue you. And then they're going to attach a lien on absolutely everything that you own to satisfy the judgment they get against you. And they will take your house, they will take your car, they will take your bank account, they will attach to where if you ever want to start working and get a paycheck, they're going to garnish all that money. You have insurance, liability insurance, so that if you ever get into an accident, you don't mean to do it. You didn't mean to kill the kid. It's not an purposement. It's an accident. And accidents happen. You might be looking at your phone. You're looking at, this pretty girl that's walking across the street, and then boom, you have insurance so that if that happens, the insurance company will pay on your behalf, so you don't have to pay out of your own pocket. And they will even give you a lawyer to represent you on your behalf, because that's what you pay for when you get insurance. If you get into an accident, lawyers usually call you and say, hey man, tell me what happened. Was it your fault or was it the other people's fault? Because we want to know who to pay. And that's why for $30 to $40 a month, you get insurance for that very purpose. And I've seen people come here, they have killed someone, and they get a $250,000 judgment against them. I've seen it. And God, you'll never dig yourself out of that. So the conveying, the this, that, you need a license. You gotta have insurance. And we do it with every single person that comes in.
Can I say for the unlawful carry? The possession of marijuana, the person that was in the vehicle told the officer it was legal hemp that they got from the store. They have receipts and everything in Texas. You can have legal hemp. They got it from the store. He even told the officer it was theirs. He pulled me out the car. He didn't ask for any paperwork.
Now you're making apples and oranges, right? Now we got to test it.
Also the most obvious one. He was acting as his own attorney. Absolute confidence paired with zero legal understanding is a dangerous combination in a real courtroom. With every statement, he only made his situation worse. Instead of strengthening his position, he handed the judge everything needed to shut him down efficiently. This wasn't bravery or intelligence, it was self-sabotage unfolding in real time.
You may not be able to see things objectively, meaning that you have your heart, you've got your soul into this case. So you may not be able to see from an outside position if they're saying something that makes sense. You're absolutely entitled to represent yourself. And if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to it. And I have no problem with you doing it. You need to understand, though, if you represent yourself, you can't come at a later day and say, you know what? I had ineffective assistance of counsel. My lawyer sucked. Well, you represented yourself. You now can't complain about that. If you go to trial and you lose, and I end up putting your butt in jail for a year, you can't complain. You're stuck like Chuck for a whole year, because that's what you're facing. You're facing a year in jail, and you got a bunch of other documents too that So, let's do the question. So, what is your full name?
Eton Chiroke Amaton.
Okay. How old are you? Where were you born?
In America.
Were you born here in Houston? Were you born in? Okay. You read and write English, right? Okay. Do you have any learning disabilities or communication handicaps? Have you ever been declared mentally incompetent or treated for any mental health disorder? Okay. You said last time I asked you about your educational background, you graduated from high school.
Graduated high school, some college.
How far did you get in college?
2.5 years.
Did you do any legal courses whatsoever?
Left that and I started doing medical transportation. I was taking classes for paramedics. I was just doing my basics.
Studying in college?
I was just doing my basics. I didn't get into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you're beginning, that's all you're doing is, right? Do you have any legal training, education, or experience?
Experience dealing with the court being charged before.
And any other legal? Do you know about the Code of Criminal Procedure?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Do you know about the Texas Penal Code?
I I'm familiar, but I'm not too familiar with a lot of statutes and codes.
Were you here for our earlier trial?
No, I went
I know you went to the felony court, but we were in trial earlier. Did you see what happened in trial earlier?
got like a glimpse of it walking.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is that the lawyers on both sides had to introduce evidence. There's a specific procedure that you have to follow to have evidence admitted. It's detailed in the codes. You have to know that, because once you represent yourself, I'm going to treat you as if you were a lawyer. I will hold you to the same standard, and I'm not here to put you through law school because I have way too much drama as it is. I don't need any more drama, right? So if you don't do it the right way, I'm going to shut you down, right? I like to be nice to people, but I'm not taking you to school. Do you understand this? Do you understand the charges against you?
I don't understand the nature of it.
Okay, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail. What they're saying is that you unlawfully had a weapon. As a result, you were charged, and now you're facing up to a year. Do you understand?
Yeah, with the technique, but I still don't understand like why I went to jail for that. So that's why.
What do you not understand?
The court procedures, or
No. I'm asking about the
Everyone else, their judgment collapses. Bias takes over, critical details are ignored, and poor decisions feel justified. Eventually, that misplaced confidence runs straight into reality. In this case, reality took the form of Judge Flecher, calm, systematic, and public, methodically showing the defendant just how unprepared he
What that means is that you cannot appeal this thing. If you're found guilty and you go to jail, you know, a lot of lawyers, a lot of defendants like to claim, sorry guys, I'll be 2 minutes. A lot of lawyers, a lot of defendants like to blame their lawyers for screwing up. And they say, hey man, my lawyer messed up. I can tell you, like, that's the number one thing that defendants complain about. And probably, I don't know this for sure, but I would suspect probably the number one reason why cases are overturned because of ineffective assistance of counsel, meaning that a lawyer, for one reason or other, messed up so bad that their cases have to be redone. You cannot complain about that at a later time.
And many times that's why I'm representing myself.
But you can't, if you mess up, you cannot appeal this thing. Do you understand? Once, and if you are found guilty, that's it. Do you understand? You also have to comply with the same appellate procedures if you lose, meaning that if you want to appeal for one reason or the other, you have to understand the guidelines and the timing, and you have to comply with those rules as well. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You will not be granted any special consideration because of your lack of formal training. Do you understand this? You may fail to properly raise points of error in the trial record if we go to trial. Meaning that if we go to trial and you object to something, because that's you hear that a lot, right? I object. This shouldn't be in there. You have to object properly. You can't just say object. There has to be more to it. You have to state the reason for the objection. It has to be a legal reason. You can't just say, I object, and expect me to hold something out. You have to give the legal reason. And there's a proper method that you have to state and ask me to do things for it to be recognized on appeal. And if you don't know this, you cannot at a later date.
any of what was explained to him. From the start, he appeared mentally disengaged. No matter how clearly Judge Flecher laid things out, the message never seemed to land. Each explanation was met with the same empty stare and recycled arguments. It became obvious the issue wasn't confusion. It was a refusal to accept reality.
They travel. Are there any other adjectives that you can think of?
Sure, there are. But
I guess I'll put etc. so that it tries to cover any type of wording, so to speak. All right. So, Mr. Amatam, I'm going to find that you are okay to represent yourself. We need you to sign a form that you're going to do that.
Even if I don't consent to any of these charges, because I do have my paperwork, I do have.
If you don't consent, just go. If you don't think we have jurisdiction, look, If I didn't think anyone had jurisdiction over me, do you think I would be here? If I was in your shoes? Hell no, man. If I didn't think that someone didn't have jurisdiction over me to be anywhere, I'm not going there. I'm not going to get out, take a shower, put my clothes on, because I like to be naked, right? You know, I'm not doing anything like that. You know, so if you don't think we have it, just go. Otherwise, you're here. You know we do, right? Because if you,
I don't know. That's why I found
let me ask you this: if you just took off now, what would happen? There you go. What does that warrant mean? What does it mean?
On, or what do you mean as far as like the warrant?
As far as jurisdiction is concerned, do you think that? Look, do you think that an officer is going to go out and actually pick someone up if they didn't think they had jurisdiction to do? Do you know how much trouble they would get in? Do you know if Steven went out there and arrested someone now just for shits and giggles, do you know how much trouble he would get in? If he had no reason to do it, do you know how much trouble he would get in? Right, a lot. He'd lose his job. He'd probably get sued. Right, can't claim immunity. He'd be toast, Swiss cheese. So that's what I'm saying. If you didn't really think that we didn't have jurisdiction, then go.
I had to take care of this matter
because you know we have jurisdiction.
I don't know, because I was going to go to 515 Rest and file my lawsuit, my civil lawsuit with the officer who did arrest me because they did some unlawful, unconstitutional things that they did to me at that time. So I was going to take it there, you know. I didn't believe they had jurisdiction over me.
I would wait to see how this case goes first before you do that. You know, see how the case goes first before you start jumping the gun.
That's what I was waiting.
You know, but ultimately,
Judge stripped away all the nonsense and reduced the situation to pure logic. If someone can simply walk away with no consequences, then maybe they could argue the court has no authority over them. But if walking away leads to arrest and jail, the answer is already clear. The court does have jurisdiction. No theories, no buzzwords, no imaginary law, just real-world consequences. And with that grounded explanation, this case wraps up perfectly. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps the channel going, and there's plenty more coming.